Hey guys, and thank you for joining today's video. So today we have 94 direction and tourist traffic signs for UK. Are you guys ready to get started? Okay, let's go then. Number one, this is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And if you take notice, you can see that this symbol is brown in color. And this symbol means that the sign will take you to a safari park. Number two, this is another tourist symbol for England and Wales, and this symbol means that pleasure or a theme park. Number three, what does this sign mean? When you see this sign, wherever you see the sign, that means that this is a tourist information point or center. I think it's really easy to remember the I in the sign, in the symbol. So I would stand for information. And I think that you would most likely find these signs in popular areas for tourists, such as London, central London, and so on. The next sign, if you have a look at this sign, I think that it's quite easy to recognize. You can see that you have an elephant there, then you have the word zoo on it, and an arrow pointing to the right. So this sign means that the junction ahead is leading to a tourist attraction. So then in the case of this particular sign, the junction ahead would be leading you to a zoo. And let's move on to the next sign. So let's see if we know what this sign means. This is actually a historic castle sign. So if you have a look at the sign, you can see there that you have a symbol of a castle, the name of the castle, which is Archer Castle, and then underneath you can see how many miles ahead this castle will be at. So in this particular sign, it's at 10 miles. So that means that when you reach 10 miles, you reach the attraction. Let's move on to the next sign. This is very similar to the previous sign, but please pay attention at what it says on the sign. So again, you do have the castle symbol at the top, Archer Castle, which is the same castle which is in the previous sign. But then you have the word closed. So let's see what this sign means. It means that the tourist attraction ahead is closed. So now you don't have the mileage, you don't have the distance to get to the attraction. Now here it says that the tourist attraction, in this particular case, the Archer Castle, is closed. This is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. Again, please keep in mind the color brown. The color brown is always for tourist attractions. So let's have a look at what this sign means. It seems a bit complicated and a bit hard to remember, but this sign means that this is a cricket ground, or there is a cricket ground. If you think that you remember better visually, try to pick something that you would remember. If you have a look at the icons on this sign, you can see a ball there and the lines and stuff like that. So if you can find something which you can remember, then it might be easier for you to memorize the sign and the meaning behind it. And our next sign is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And again, as with the tourist symbol or tourist attraction, we do have the brown color. And here on this particular sign, you can see a man on a bicycle. This particular sign means that it's a cycle hire. So you go here and you can hire a cycle such as a bicycle. For example, let's just say in London, you have the Barclays bikes, which you can rent for a couple of hours or however much you want to ride the bikes for. So usually in a place where the bikes are parked, for you to be able to take them and hire them, you will see this sign. Moving on to the next sign, please pay particular attention to this sign because this is a tourist symbol, but only for England. So let's see what this sign means. This sign means that the particular tourist attraction is recognized by a regional tourist board or the English tourist board. So you will only find this sign in England because it's only for England. This sign is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. Again, don't forget to associate the brown color with tourists. So on this particular sign, If you think it's easier for you to remember, look at whatever is on the sign, at the drawing that's on the sign. In this particular case, we have a fish. So it's quite easy to remember. And if we move on to see what this sign means, it actually means fishing. So this is a spot for fishing. Sign number 11, this is another tourist symbol for England and Wales. And again, I think it's quite obvious what this sign might mean, but in case it's not obvious, you know, take this sign and associate it with something you can remember. For example, you can see here that you have a ball on this sign. So this sign means there is a football ground. Football, you've got on the sign the ball. So you can kind of, remember that when you see a ball, there is a football ground nearby. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? Again, maybe if you can associate this flag, which is on the sign, with the meaning of the sign, and the meaning of the sign is a golf course. So if you associate this flag with golf, then you can more easily remember that this is a golf course. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? Let's see. Motorsport. So again, you have another flag, but you have another type of flag, like the flags you see in racing, the checkered flag. So it's kind of easy to associate this kind of flag with something which has to do with motors, so motorsport, because the sign is on a brown background, which means it's like a tourist attraction or a tourist sign. So it would be, it kind of makes sense that this flag would be associated with some kind of, tourist attraction or sport, in this case, a motorsport. Looking at the next sign, what does this sign mean? And let's see. This sign means race course. Again, you can see the horse and the horse rider, and you can see that the horse is feeding. So this is the sign for a race course. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? I feel like this is kind of a very complicated sign. I mean, I'm not sure I will be able to recognize it. It's very particular. So let's just see what this sign means. This is a tourist attraction recognized by Visit Scotland. So this sign is not so common, right? That's why it's a bit harder to remember. But again, have a look at the sign properly and figure out what you can associate with it so you can remember what it means. The next sign is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And this sign means it's a ski slope. So you can see a person skiing on the slope. It's, it's quite obvious. And again, if you can associate that with the meaning of the sign, it's very much easier to remember. Then we have the next sign, which is, pay attention please, a tourist symbol, but only for England. And this sign means it's a sports center. If you have a look at the sign, it kind of feels like it's a person, and then it's on the brown background. So again, it's something to do with an attraction or something similar. So it's a sports center. I see, this is what I see, like a person on the sign. Maybe you see something else, I don't know. Moving on to the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? You have a train there. So let's see what the sign means. The sign means this is a steam railway sign. So you have the steam railway, you have the symbol on the sign, the train, steam railway, 300 yards. So the distance to the steam railway is 300 yards in this particular sign. Let's have a look at the next sign. What does this sign mean? So you need to pay attention at the following few questions, because the signs will look very similar, but they are different. So just pay attention, please. So you see the sign here. This particular sign means that they are 100 yards to a roundabout or the next point at which traffic may leave a primary route. The next sign is very similar to the previous one, but if you can tell, it's kind of in the opposite direction. So let's have a look at this sign. This sign is 100 yards to a roundabout or the next point at which traffic may leave a non-primary route. The next sign, this one has two lines on it. This sign means 200 yards to a roundabout or the next point at which traffic may leave a primary route. So the first sign was one line, 100 yards. Now this is the sign with the two lines, 200 yards. The next sign, 200 yards to a roundabout or the next point at which traffic may leave a non-primary route. And moving on to the next sign, this one has three lines. So this particular sign means 300 yards to a roundabout or the next point at which traffic may leave a primary route. So one line, 100 yards, two lines, 200 yards, three lines, 300 yards. And now this is on the opposite direction. This sign means 300 yards to a roundabout or the next point at which traffic may leave a non-primary route. Moving on to the next question or the next symbol. This is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. Pay close attention to the sign. Again, it's on a brown background, and this sign means a beach. So you can see in the sign, it's kind of like a sandcastle. So maybe if you associate a sandcastle with this sign, then you can understand and you can remember that this is a beach. The next sign is again another tourist symbol for England and Wales, and we can see here a bird or a parrot. So this sign means this is a bird garden. Again, you can associate the bird on the sign with what the sign means. Moving on to the next question. This is another tourist symbol for England and Wales. Please remember the castle sign. We had the previous question. This sign means that this is a castle of historic or architectural interest. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? This sign means a country park. Now, what I see in this sign is kind of like a family of three. So it's kind of like, just a family going out in a park. So this is how I would remember this sign. So you need to find, something that you can associate with this sign so you can remember what it means. The following question, please again pay attention, this is a tourist symbol only for England. And this symbol means property in the care of English heritage. If you have a look at the sign, it kind of looks similar to a hashtag. So me personally, I would associate this with a hashtag and then I would remember when I see the sign that the property is in the care of English heritage. Next sign, this is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And hello, sheep. Let's see what this sign means. The sign means that this is a farm park. So this is not only a farm, but considering that this is on a brown background, it's a park, which means that you can go and visit this park. So it's a farm park, an animal park. So you go to this park and you have farm animals on there which you can visit. The next sign is this particular sign here. So you can see on the sign, you've got a museum written, the symbol of an M, and a person. So let's see what this sign means. This is the direction to tourist attraction indicated by a symbol. So if you can have a look at this sign, on this particular sign, this is showing you the direction to a museum. So if you go to the left, you will get to the museum. So obviously, each sign will have different symbols. For example, this one is a museum, but there might be other buildings that you can visit. The next question, what does this sign mean? It's kind of like a house, isn't it? So let's see what it means. A house of historic or architectural importance. Again, please keep in mind the brown color. Brown is always tourist. The next sign, What is the meaning of this sign? Direction and distance to a tourist attraction. So on this particular sign, as you can see, the direction is telling you left to get to the model village in 1.5 miles. Let's have a look at the next sign. This is a tourist symbol for England only. Now, just a couple of times back, you've come across this symbol, remember? But if you don't remember, let's refresh our memory. This sign means museum or art gallery. So you can see on this sign M, which stands for museum. It's very easy to remember if you associate M with museum. The next sign, this is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And this sign means National Trust property. So if you have a look at the sign, you see leaves, you see a branch, you see what are those? I forgot the name for them. The ones that squirrels eat. Yeah, so you can kind of associate this with something to do with nature. So National Trust property. Let's have a look at the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Junction ahead, which is leading to a temporary diversion route, follows symbolic route. On this particular sign, M1 north is closed. So the alternative route will be on the left and you will need to follow the signs for the diversion. Next question. What is the meaning of this sign? The roundabout ahead is leading to a temporary diversion route to the destination shown. So automatically you can associate the color yellow with diversion. So when you see the color yellow, you can kind of think, okay, this is an instruction for a diversion. So on this particular sign, the roundabout ahead will lead you to the diversion to the destination shown, in this case, North Town. Let's have a look at the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? A junction ahead of a primary route with non-primary route through a town or village that has been bypassed. So the junction ahead of a primary route would be the Lambton route, and the non-primary route through a town would be Little Putting. Let's move on to the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? This means that the junction ahead is leading to a car ferry. So we get on a ferry, we are crossing the channel, and this sign will tell you exactly where to go to get to the car ferry. Next question. What does this sign mean? It's very similar to the previous sign, but please pay attention at the symbols on the sign. This sign means the direction to a vehicle ferry. So if you have a look at this sign, it will show the direction. So on the left, you will get to the vehicle ferry, to the vehicle ferry. Next sign. What does this sign mean? Direction to public toilets with facilities for disabled people. So you can have a look here, WVC for toilets, the direction is on the left, and this has facility for disabled people as well. As you can see, there is a symbol on this particular sign for disabled people. Now let's have a look at the following sign. What does this sign mean? Direction to Vehicle and Operator Services Agency Testing Station for Goods Vehicles. If you have a look at the sign, it kind of tells you everything that you need to know on the sign. So, Goods Vehicle Testing Station on the right. Next question. What does this sign mean? Junction ahead is leading to a London Underground railway station. On this particular sign, you can see that it's telling you the name of the station, which is Oakwood Station. And then following that, you have the symbol for the railway station. Next question. What does this sign mean? Direction to a public telephone. So you can see on this particular sign, it's going to tell you a payphone. You have a phone symbol there, so you can associate the payphone with the phone and the direction, which would be on the right. Next question. What does this sign mean? The direction to a shopping area which provides a shop mobility service for disabled people. Having a look at the sign, I mean, you can kind of associate what it says on it with what it means, shop mobility. So this is a shop and you can be mobile to get to the shop. So the direction would be to the left, and you can see there that there are facilities for disabled people. The next question, what does this sign mean? Green, guys, remember green. So we have brown, we have green, we have yellow. This one is green. So this sign means direction ahead leading to a route for emergency vehicles to an emergency services incident point. So it says on the sign, emergency vehicles on the left. Number 47. What does this sign mean? This is like a bold, red, and it says on it, emergency vehicles. Junction ahead, leading to a route for emergency vehicles to a temporary incident control point. So in this particular instance, you would be directed on the right. What does this sign mean? Additional traffic lane joining from the left ahead, non-primary routes. And I want to ask you a question here, and you can leave me the answer in the comments below. So who has priority here? Which lane has priority? Leave me your answer in the comments, and let's move on to the next question. What does this sign mean? Additional traffic lane joining from the left in 200 yards. Traffic on main carriageway had priority over joining traffic from the right-hand lane of the slip road, primary routes. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction to a new housing development. So you can see on this particular sign, you have the symbol of a house, then the name, Oak Farm Estate, and it's pointing you on the right. Next question. What is the meaning of this sign? Additional traffic joining from the left ahead. Non-primary route. Black and white. Guys, black and white. What is the meaning of this sign? This is green, white and green and white. Additional traffic lanes joining from the right ahead. Traffic in the right-hand lane joins the main carriageway. Traffic on the main carriageway has priority over joining traffic primary route. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction to a parking place available only on the day specified. So on this sign in particular, you can see the P, which stands for parking, Saturday only. The direction points you to the right, but you can only park here on Saturday. Obviously, different signs will tell you different days or times and so on. Moving on to the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction to a parking place for shoppers and showing the total number of spaces. Again, if you associate different symbols on the signs, then maybe it's easier for you to remember. So you have here P, which stands for parking, 250. So there is space for 250 vehicles. And this parking is for shoppers only. So only for people who are parking there to go shopping. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? General directions to different types of parking place. If you have a look at the sign, P, parking, town center parking. So if you go to the left, there is a short stay parking. If you go to the right, there is a long stay parking. Next question. What is the meaning of this sign? Junction ahead leading to a destination advised for goods vehicles. On this particular sign, the destination would be the docks for goods vehicles. Moving on to the next question. What is the meaning of this sign? Junction ahead leading to route advised for goods vehicles. on this particular sign, the route would be Northway Industrial Estate. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction to destination shown off route advised for goods vehicles. So if you want to remember goods vehicles, just remember a truck because the symbol on the sign is a truck for all these goods vehicles. So the direction would be on the left, on the right, sorry. The next sign is this. And what is the meaning? Let's have a look. Distance and direction to a parking place ahead from which a park and ride scheme operates. So park and ride, you see they're parking. You see you have the P sign plus a bus. If you are not aware what park and ride is, it really means that you drive there, you leave your car in the parking place, P, and then you hop on the bus and you take the journey on the bus. That's park and ride. And let's have a look at the next sign. Just bear in mind they are similar, but they are not the same and they don't have the same meaning. What does this sign mean? Like I said, similar but not the same. This sign in particular means direction to a parking place from which a park and ride scheme operates. Like in the previous sign, it's another park and ride sign, but they're different symbols. So you have P for parking plus railway station or, a train. So basically you park your car in the P parking and then you hop on the train. Next symbol, again, it's very similar to the previous symbols, but please don't get them confused because they have different meanings. This sign is a direction to a parking place from which a park and ride scheme operates. So again, P for parking plus tram. So again, you park your car to hop on the tram. I think that this one is repeating itself for some reason. Oh no. See, I got confused on this one. So this is again very similar to the previous ones, but it has a different meaning. Let's have a look. Direction to a parking place from which a park and ride scheme operates. So now this sign is showing you the direction on the right. Moving on to the next question. What does this sign mean? Yellow, yellow. This sign means direction of temporary diversion route from junction ahead. You can have a look here, yellow color, and it says on the sign, diverted traffic. And obviously you need to follow the arrow. Next question. What does this sign mean? This is actually a diversion route symbol, in this case, a circular or a round symbol. I'm sure that if you have been driving on the road or if you've been a passenger and you've seen diversions, you normally see with the diversion these signs as well. Next question. What does this sign mean? Again, we have yellow. This is another diversion route symbol, but in this instance, the shape is square. So you can have the round shape, you can have the square shape as well. And let's move on to the next question. What does this sign mean? This is the direction of temporary diversion route. And this sign is showing you diverted traffic plus the direction on the right. Next question. What does this sign mean? This is another sign. This is another diversion route symbol, in this instance triangular. So we've had circle, circular, round, we've had square, and now we also have triangular. Next question. What does this sign mean? Start of temporary diversion route to the left. And the following sign is going to be very similar to this one, but obviously it's going to be different. What does this sign mean? The start of temporary diversion route to the right. What is the meaning of this sign? End of temporary diversion route. As you can see on the sign, it says here diversion ends. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction of temporary diversion route from junction ahead. Let's see the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction of temporary diversion route. Next sign. Oh, we have brown again. This is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And the meaning of this is 10-pin bowling. So again, associate what you know so you can more easily remember the sign. So here you can see the pins on the sign. Brown for tourists, so you can kind of tell that this is like a tourist attraction or a place to visit. So on this particular sign, you have the 10-pin bowling. Let's see the next sign. What does this sign mean? Direction along a route passing through places of interest recognized by a regional tourist board or the English Tourist Board. Next sign, and please pay particular attention to this sign because this is a tourist symbol, but for Wales only. This sign means tourist attraction recognized by the Welsh Tourist Board. Next question or next sign, if you will. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction to services with details of the services provided. So if you have a look at this particular sign, you can see that the services provided are toilets, petrol, a shop like a coffee shop or a restaurant with disabled facilities, and it's also an information center. And moving on to the next sign, what is the meaning of this sign? Direction and distance to a tourist information point or center. So I remember it's for information. Then it's written on the sign as well, tourist information on the right and the distance to get to it. And let's move on to the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Again, this is very similar to the previous sign we've seen of this nature, but it's a bit different. So the meaning of this sign is distance ahead to services with details of the services provided. So services, half a mile, you have toilets available, you have petrol station as well, you have a restaurant available, it's an information center as well, but please pay attention to this particular sign. It says not 24 hours, so this is not available 24 hours. It's possible that the restaurant is not open 24 hours, or the petrol station is not open 24 hours, or nothing is open for 24 hours, like in other places where there are services. Next question. What is the meaning of this sign? I. Location of a tourist information point or center. Next sign. What does this sign mean? Entrance or junction ahead to services. So services we've just covered. Next sign. What does this sign mean? Entrance or direction to services. In this instance, on the left. Services, you might get a toilet, facilities, you might get petrol stations, a restaurant, a hotel, tourist attraction, or information center and stuff like that. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? Camping and caravan site 300 yards ahead. You can see there on the sign the little tiny cute caravan symbol and the distance 300 yards. Next sign. What does this sign mean? I know it's very similar to the previous sign we've just seen, but it's slightly different. Camping and caravan site 300 yards in the direction indicated. So here is giving you the direction as well. So you've got the camping and caravan site 300 yards on the right. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? Now remember that this is on a brown background, so it's got to do with tourists, right? Let's see what it means. Distance ahead to parking place with a tourist information point, picnic site, public telephone, public toilets, and viewpoint. If you have a look at the symbols on this sign, you can see P for parking, WC for toilet, I for tourist information point, picnic site because you've got someone there sitting on a bench with a tree and stuff like that. Then you've got the phone symbol as well, and the viewpoint, which can be, I don't know what it can be, maybe a lake, maybe a building, maybe, I don't know, you're just looking at the sky and you see a constellation or stuff like that. But basically means like a viewpoint, and then it's giving you the distance, which is 1 mile. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? We've had a similar sign previously. So let's see if you guys remember. Directions to different types of parking place from a junction ahead. So you've got long stay parking P, long stay, and short stay parking P. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? We've just had a different sign with this just a couple of questions ago. So let's see. This sign means picnic area 150 yards ahead. So you've got a place with tables and benches and green and grass and whatever where you can sit down and have something to eat. And then it's giving you the distance as well, which is 150 yards. But please pay attention to this particular sign because although it's a picnic area, it's not going to have toilet facilities unless there is a symbol saying there are toilet facilities. Moving on to the next sign. What does this sign mean? Direction and distance to picnic area. Again, you have the symbol of the person staying on the bench and eating at the table. 150 yards. That's the distance, and then on the right is the direction. Let's go ahead with the next sign. What does this sign mean? Managed youth hostel 1 mile ahead. So basically, a hostel is very similar to a hotel, and this one is for youth, for young people, and it's 1 mile ahead, and it's managed. So this is what this sign means, and let's have a look at the next sign, which will be similar to this one, but obviously with a different meaning. So what does this sign mean? Youth hostel, 200 yards in the direction indicated. So the youth hostel will be 200 yards on the right. Let's have a look at the next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Distance to a commercial vehicle's parking place ahead with public toilets and telephones. So here you have only commercial vehicles. So this is a parking space only for commercial vehicles, like it shows on the sign the symbol of a truck, for example. So there is a parking available for trucks. There's also toilet facilities, a phone, and it's 1 mile. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? Direction to a lorry park via a U-turn at a roundabout ahead. So this sign is also, quite straightforward. You have P, which is a symbol for parking, and then lorry or a truck, and when you do a U-turn at the roundabout ahead. So basically arrow down. Next sign. What is the meaning of this sign? A direction and distance to a multi-story parking place. So if you have a look at the sign, you have P for parking, multi-story, 250 yards after you turn right. Next question and sign. What? So this is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. You have here a little duck. And the sign means this is a nature reserve. So for you to make it easier to remember, associate the brown color with the duck, and then you can easily recognize that this is nature reserve. And our next question is our last question for today's video. And this is a tourist symbol for England and Wales. And this means a site with Roman remains. I'm not sure if I've ever come across in England a site with Roman remains. That's very interesting. But if you have a look at the sign, I find that it's quite easy to remember. I mean, it's on a brown background, which, the color associated with tourists visiting places and stuff like that. And then you also have the helmet of a warrior. So this is how I would remember it. This is a site with Roman remains. The helmet from a warrior, and then the brown color, which is a tourist destination or tourist, stuff like that, visiting and stuff. And we got to the end of the video. Thank you so much for staying with me. This was a longer video than usual. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.